I really think I had something in my teeth from
No,
lunch.
dude, I don't even think it matters.
Hey, you guys, we're starting the podcast.
Sorry.
Wah, 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 wah. Welcome to Shell It Like It Is.
Yeah.
I'm Izzy, joined by my co-hosts Kia and Dee. What's up, y'all? How you been?
Well, I have been working on some pretty cool projects, like planning out the 2025 Tribal Self-Governance Conference, which will be returning to the Gila River Indian Community's Wild Horse Pass next April, so you guys better be there.
I'll be there, and we're celebrating 50 years of the Indian Self-Determination Act. So I hope folks are registering and booking their rooms right now.
The conference last year was lit. It was especially cool when Chance interviewed Dee and I about the future of tribal self-governance. Another popular session was hosted by today's guest, who is dispelling some myths about self-governance.
Hey guys, it looks like Linda Austin is connecting.
Welcome, Linda.
Hey,
so
Linda.
glad to have you here with us.
Hi, all. Thank you for having me.
Linda, I had the chance to attend your conference session, and it was really beneficial.
Yeah.
Agreed. But before we jump in, I think our viewers would like to hear about you and Ysleta Del Sur Pueblo and your role at the tribe.
Certainly. So I'm Linda Austin. I'm the Chief Operations Officer for the Ysleta Del Sur Pueblo. I have served the tribal community for 29 years now and have had the privilege of witnessing the Pueblo self-governance evolution and proliferation.
Wonderful. So, would you mind explaining what is Ysleta Del Sur Pueblo's experience with self-governance authority and how it's currently used?
The Pueblo was federally recognized in 1987. And so we've only been administering our federal programs and functions since that time. And what the Pueblo has really been able to do in that short amount of time has really been astounding. And I think that self-governance really resonates throughout the Pueblo in every aspect of what we do here. So 2012 was a very defining year for the Pueblo's sovereignty in that we self-determined our own citizenship. Our federal restoration previously dictated our citizenship requirements. And so the Pueblo was very proactive in fighting to change that legislation so that the Pueblo could self-determine its own citizens. It feels very strongly about that victory. Other examples of our self-governance footprint is applying for our self-governance status within the Department of Interior. That also happened in 2012. Last year, we were very, very victorious in also gaining self-governance recognition within the Department of Health and Human Service. So with the Indian Health Service, we also compact for our health services. And we were also very creative in aligning a joint venture project, which led to the opening of a new healthcare clinic that is going to be serving not only the Pueblo community, but the greater El Paso region.
It's so great that the tribe has been able to take advantage of self-governance and make a real difference in the community. We were talking about some misconceptions that federal agencies and even some tribes have about self-governance. Some say self-governance will somehow make a tribe less accountable for using federal funds. I guess they think tribes could misuse funding, maybe spend all the money on designer ribbon skirts or beaded bingo daubers. I don't know. What do you say to people who think that's the case?
Absolutely not. And if anyone really can attest to the spirit of tribes setting standards and setting measures that are rooted in responsibility and accountability, it definitely is us. I think we take that responsibility level to another degree. And we really pride ourselves on our administration of our federal funds, of any dollars that there's a stewardship element involved. And so much so that I believe when we were pursuing our self-governance recognition with the Department of Interior, there's an element to that transition that requires a tribe to do a planning study. And it was very eye-opening for the Ysleta del Sur Pueblo. We were able to acknowledge how much we were planners. We really were able to map our development, our evolution in self-governance. And a lot of that has to do with setting some internal control structures and a framework whereby any funds that are administered by our Pueblo, you can rest assured that it ties to a legitimate need, to a function of the government, our structure, everything that we do here within our government, within administering those federal funds, it is done with a lot of accountability, responsibility, and an internal control framework. And I think at the end of the day, what matters is that the Pueblo understands that our stakeholders, they're the people. It is the people of this community, and we are responsible to them. We hold community meetings whereby we report on what it is that we're utilizing those funds for. We ask for community input. We engage the tribal community and the voice of the community at every stage of the way. I think it's very critical that tribes have these frameworks to build confidence and trust.
I completely agree, and I love your involvement with the community. Can you tell us a little bit more about the tribe's self-monitoring policy?
And I think it's really healthy to self-assess. So our self-monitoring policy really looks at, okay, one federal agency is prescribing that we adhere to these measures. Another federal agency, there's a lot of commonalities. So what we did is we looked at all of the requirements across the majority of our federal funds, state funds, and we designed a policy that would allow our administration to practically check off all of the boxes for any kind of award that we were going to receive. And so what we do is we have we formulate a team. We have a compliance team. And so there are various stakeholders within our administration personnel. We come together and we assess internally certain performance areas for every department. So we are looking at financial performance. We're looking at programmatic performance. We look at our data measures that we're setting. Are we, delivering the services in adequate form to our budgets? So we kind of look at everything that we're doing from the standpoint of the government and assess to make sure that we are running optimal programs, that we're tweaking services as our census changes.
It sounds like Ysleta Del Sur Pueblo takes accountability to the next level. Do you have suggestions for other tribes regarding the creation of self-monitoring policy?
Absolutely. I have been very fortunate to share our story during conferences such as the Self-Governance Conference. It's really important to do a lot of internal analysis before anyone kind of starts any kind of advancement or any development in that space. There has to be a capacity level that a tribe should strive for to ensure that you've got, kind of all of the bases covered. And so sometimes it just takes time. And I also say that quite often is the development in tribal government, sometimes it takes years and it takes some patience.
Absolutely. Thank you, Linda. And just to clarify for all the doubters out there, do you think self-governance increased or decreased accountability for the tribe?
Oh, absolutely increased our accountability. I think the other thing that is really nice to know about Ysleta Del Sur Pueblo is that this way of governing and our methods, it is instilled from day one. Any new oncoming employee, we really do emphasize the importance of being a responsible steward of the funds that have been entrusted to the Pueblo, and also to ensure that the community members have full trust that their tribal government is working to meet the needs that they have and to optimally operate this government.
And so what does that look like to you, and how does it feel to you seeing the progress you and your tribe have made from the very beginning?
Very overwhelming, I will tell you. And just to have been a part of that, to have assisted in crafting that proliferation for the Pueblo is very humbling. I will tell you that. But it's so rewarding in seeing that we really solidified our economic development expansion. And for once we were able to then set these long-term plans in motion where we were able to allocate funds, for long-term investments, long-term yield strategies. So it is very rewarding. The other thing is to see the level of education within the community members really soar. I remember, when I first started, even your entry level jobs, we were struggling to hire tribal members. Now I am so proud to boast that 60% of our workforce are tribal members. And so that's so important. That is really what we're all trying to do within our communities is turn that page and increase that capacity.
Oh, man. Got to dry my eyes a little bit. But I got to stop the waterworks. Thank you so much for sharing your experience with us. Unfortunately, we're out of time here in the Turtle Dome.
See
Bye,
ya.
Linda.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Linda. From our brief conversation, there's no wonder why your conference session was a big hit.
Keep an eye out for the drop of our next episode. We'll talk more about issues that are important to Indian country. Again, if you have a suggestion for a topic you want us to discuss or a guest we should invite to join a future episode, email it to info@tribalselfgov.org.
Also, if you want to give some positive feedback on this or other episodes, you can email Izzy at tribalselfgov.org.